A wise person understands that love is not just about honesty, it's about timing, restraint, and emotional discipline. Not everything you feel needs to be spoken. Not every truth builds connection. Some truths, when spoken carelessly, quietly destroy respect, attraction, and trust. A man sat across from his partner one evening and told her everything on his mind. Every insecurity. Every doubt. Every comparison he had made between her and others. He thought honesty would bring them closer. Instead, something changed in her eyes. Not anger, but distance. He had handed her thoughts she was never meant to carry. Wisdom is knowing what to say, and what to carry alone. A wise person never tells their partner every passing attraction they feel towards someone else. Attraction is human. It comes and goes like the wind. But speaking it unnecessarily plants seeds of insecurity. It creates comparisons that don't need to exist. There was a man who believed transparency meant confessing every fleeting attraction. "I saw someone today, she looked amazing." He said it casually, thinking it meant nothing. But over time, his partner began to question herself. She didn't feel chosen anymore. She felt measured. A wise person understands that loyalty is not just physical. It is mental discipline. You do not water distractions and expect your relationship to grow stronger. A wise person never tells their partner all their weaknesses in moments of emotional instability. Vulnerability builds connection when it is grounded. But emotional dumping creates pressure. A woman once shared every fear she had with her partner during a difficult phase. Her fear of being abandoned. Her fear of not being enough. At first, he comforted her. But over time, he began to feel responsible for emotions he couldn't control. The relationship shifted from partnership to emotional burden. A wise person reveals vulnerability with strength, not desperation. They share from a place of self-awareness, not emotional chaos. A wise person never tells their partner they can't live without them. It sounds romantic. It feels intense. But it weakens your position. There was a man who told his partner, "You are my whole world. Without you, I am nothing." At first, she felt special. But slowly, the weight of being someone's entire existence became too heavy. Respect turned into pressure. Attraction faded into responsibility. A wise person loves deeply, but never abandons themselves. They build a life so full that love becomes a part of it, not the foundation of their survival. A wise person never tells their partner every detail of their past relationships. Your past is yours. Not everything needs to be relived in your present. A man once shared detailed stories about his exes, thinking it showed openness. Instead, his partner began to compare herself to ghosts she had never met. She questioned things that had nothing to do with her. A wise person understands that the past should inform your growth, not haunt your relationship. You share lessons, not unnecessary details. A wise person never tells their partner things said in anger that attack their core identity. Words spoken in anger are rarely forgotten. During an argument, a man told his partner, "You're just like everyone who failed you." The silence that followed was heavier than the argument itself. The relationship continued, but something invisible had broken. A wise person controls their tongue, especially in emotional storms. Because once certain words are spoken, they do not disappear. They live quietly in the other person's mind. A wise person never tells their partner all their plans before they are built. Ambition needs protection. There was a man who shared every goal, every dream, every plan before taking action. When things didn't work out, his partner began to doubt his consistency. Not because she didn't support him, but because she had seen too many unfinished visions. A wise person moves in silence. They build first, then reveal. They let results speak, not intentions. A wise person never tells their partner things that reduce their own self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation of how others treat you. A man constantly joked about his own failures, his own shortcomings, his own lack of discipline. He thought it made him relatable. But over time, his partner began to see him exactly how he described himself. A wise person understands that your words shape your identity. The way you present yourself becomes the way others perceive you. In the end, wisdom in relationships is not about hiding the truth. It is about mastering it. It is about understanding that love thrives in stability, not chaos. In discipline, not emotional overflow. In presence, not desperation. Not everything you feel needs to be said. Not everything you think needs to be shared. A wise person speaks with intention, moves with control, loves without losing themselves. A wise person continues to refine their silence, because they understand that restraint is not weakness, it is power under control. There was a man who used to react to everything his partner said. Every small comment became a discussion. Every disagreement turned into a long explanation. He believed communication meant constant expression. But over time, his presence became predictable. There was no mystery, no calm center, no grounded energy. Then something changed. He began to pause. He began to choose his words instead of releasing them instantly. And something shifted. His partner listened more, respected more, felt more drawn to his presence. A wise person knows that not every moment requires a response. Sometimes silence speaks with more authority than words ever could. A wise person never tells their partner everything they are thinking in moments of doubt. Thoughts are not always truth. They are temporary waves, influenced by mood, fear, and insecurity. A woman once felt distant for a few days. Instead of observing her emotions, she spoke them immediately. "I think I'm falling out of love." Those words hit her partner like a final decision, even though it was just a passing feeling. What could have been a temporary phase became a lasting wound. A wise person observes their thoughts before they give them power through speech. They understand that not every emotion deserves a voice. A wise person never tells their partner things just to provoke a reaction. Emotional manipulation often disguises itself as honesty. There was a man who would say things like, "Maybe I should just leave," not because he meant it, but because he wanted reassurance. At first, his partner chased him with words of comfort. But over time, she grew tired. The words lost meaning. The connection weakened. A wise person communicates to build, not to test. They do not play emotional games to feel secure. A wise person never tells their partner private things shared in confidence by others. Trust is not selective. It is a habit. A woman once shared her friend's secret with her partner, thinking it would bring them closer. "Don't tell anyone," she said. He nodded. But in that moment, something registered in his mind. If she could share someone else's secret so easily, what would she do with his? A wise person protects trust at all levels. Because how you handle others' privacy teaches your partner how safe they are with you. A wise person never tells their partner things that make them feel easily replaceable. Security is the soil where love grows. There was a man who often said, "If this doesn't work, I'll find someone else easily." He said it with confidence, even pride. But what he didn't see was how those words slowly eroded the emotional safety in the relationship. His partner stopped investing deeply. Why build something meaningful if it could be discarded so casually? A wise person understands that strength is not shown through detachment alone, but through the ability to create a space where both people feel valued. A wise person never tells their partner exaggerated promises they cannot consistently fulfill. Words create expectations. Actions must carry them. A man once told his partner, "I will always be there for you, no matter what." But when life became difficult, he withdrew. Not because he didn't care, but because he hadn't built the capacity to match his words. The disappointment wasn't just in his absence, but in the gap between what he said and what he did. A wise person speaks carefully, and commits fully. They promise less, and deliver more. A wise person never tells their partner things that come from ego rather than truth. Ego seeks to win. Wisdom seeks to understand. During an argument, a woman said, "I don't need you." She didn't mean it. It was her ego protecting her from feeling vulnerable. But those words stayed. They created distance that apologies couldn't fully erase. A wise person does not allow ego to speak on their behalf. They choose words that reflect clarity, not pride. A wise person never tells their partner everything about their internal struggles without first learning to carry themselves. Strength is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to manage it. There was a man who relied entirely on his partner to regulate his emotions. Every bad day became her responsibility. Every frustration became her burden. At first, she supported him. But eventually, she felt drained. A wise person shares their struggles, but they also take responsibility for their inner world. They do not outsource their stability. In the end, a wise person understands something most people ignore. A relationship is not strengthened by saying everything. It is strengthened by knowing what deserves to be said, and what should be transformed internally. They understand that words are not just expressions. They are seeds. And whatever you plant consistently will grow. So they choose carefully. They speak with intention. They protect the connection, not just express themselves. And in doing so, they create something rare, something steady, something strong. A wise person keeps sharpening their awareness, because they know that relationships are not maintained by emotion alone, but by discipline practiced daily. There was a man who believed love would naturally sustain itself. He said whatever came to his mind, reacted however he felt, and assumed the bond would remain strong. But over time, small cracks formed. Not from betrayal, but from carelessness. Words spoken without thought. Feelings expressed without control. A wise person understands that what you allow to slip out repeatedly becomes the pattern that defines your relationship. A wise person never tells their partner things that strip away mystery and personal depth. Familiarity should not lead to overexposure. There was a woman who shared every detail of her day, every thought, every opinion, without filter. At first, it felt like closeness. But over time, there was nothing left to discover. Conversations became predictable. The excitement faded into routine. A wise person leaves space for curiosity. They understand that attraction grows in the presence of depth, not constant exposure. A wise person never tells their partner comparisons that place them against others. Comparison poisons connection quietly. A man once said, "My ex used to handle this better." He didn't say it to hurt her. He said it out of frustration. But those words created a silent competition his partner never signed up for. She no longer felt appreciated for who she was, only measured against who she wasn't. A wise person focuses on what is present, not what is gone. They build appreciation, not comparison. A wise person never tells their partner everything they dislike about them all at once. Correction requires precision, not overload. There was a moment when a woman listed every flaw she had been holding in. His habits, his tone, his choices. It came out like a flood. He didn't hear the details, he only felt attacked. A wise person addresses issues with timing and control. They correct to improve, not to release built-up frustration. A wise person never tells their partner things that make love feel conditional. Love loses its strength when it feels like a transaction. A man once said, "If you don't do this, I won't stay." He thought he was setting a boundary. But what his partner felt was pressure, not respect. Instead of growing closer, she became cautious. Careful. Guarded. A wise person sets boundaries without threatening connection. They stand firm without making love feel fragile. A wise person never tells their partner every fear about the future without direction. Fear without leadership creates instability. There was a woman who constantly spoke about what could go wrong. What if this fails? What if we don't make it? She wasn't trying to be negative, she was trying to feel secure. But her words created the opposite effect. The relationship began to feel uncertain, heavy. A wise person acknowledges fear, but they lead with clarity. They do not let uncertainty dominate the emotional environment. A wise person never tells their partner things that reduce emotional safety in subtle ways. Sometimes the damage is not loud, it is quiet. A man would joke at the wrong moments. He would dismiss serious conversations with humor. "It's not that deep." he would say. But what his partner felt was not relief, it was dismissal. A wise person knows when to be light, and when to be present. They do not use words to escape responsibility. A wise person never tells their partner things repeatedly that they have already addressed. Repetition turns communication into pressure. There was a pattern where one partner kept bringing up the same mistake, even after apologies were made. "You always do this." Over time, the issue itself became smaller, but the repetition made it feel permanent. A wise person allows growth to happen. They do not trap their partner in past versions of themselves. A wise person never tells their partner things that come from impatience. Impatience distorts communication. A man once interrupted constantly, finishing sentences, correcting small details, pushing conversations forward. He wasn't trying to dominate, he was just impatient. But what his partner experienced was a lack of respect. A wise person listens fully before they speak. They understand that how you speak matters just as much as what you say. A wise person never tells their partner things just to fill silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is space. There was a couple who could not sit in quiet. Every pause had to be filled. Words were used to avoid stillness. But over time, they lost the ability to simply exist together without pressure. A wise person is comfortable in silence. They do not speak out of discomfort, they speak out of purpose. In the end, a wise person realizes something that changes everything. A relationship is not built by constant expression. It is built by controlled expression. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every emotion needs to be spoken. Not every thought deserves attention. The strongest presence in any relationship is the one that is grounded, intentional, and disciplined. They do not rush to speak. They do not rush to react. They observe. They understand. They choose. And in that choice, they create respect, attraction, and stability that lasts. A wise person continues to master themselves, because they understand that the quality of a relationship is a reflection of the discipline within each person. There was a man who believed that love meant constant reassurance. He asked questions he already knew the answers to. "Do you still love me? Are you sure?" At first, it felt harmless. But over time, it drained the energy from the relationship. What should have felt natural began to feel like an obligation. A wise person never tells their partner things that come from unchecked insecurity. They work on their fears in silence, so that when they speak from strength, not from need. A wise person never tells their partner every external opinion they hear about the relationship. Outside voices carry outside energy. A woman once told her partner, "My friends think you're not doing enough." She thought she was being honest. But what she did was bring strangers into a private space. It created tension that didn't belong there. A wise person protects the relationship from unnecessary interference. They seek guidance when needed, but they do not import opinions carelessly. A wise person never tells their partner things that turn small issues into permanent labels. Labels shape identity. During a disagreement, a man said, "You're so selfish." He didn't mean she was always selfish. He meant she acted that way in that moment. But the label stayed longer than the situation. A wise person speaks to behavior, not identity. They correct actions without defining the person. A wise person never tells their partner everything they sacrifice while expecting recognition. True effort does not demand applause. There was a woman who constantly reminded her partner of everything she did. "I do this for you. I give up that for you." What could have been appreciated naturally began to feel like a transaction. A wise person gives from choice, not from silent contracts. They do not use their effort as leverage. A wise person never tells their partner things that expose their lack of direction. Direction creates confidence. A man once admitted, "I don't know what I'm doing with my life." It was an honest moment, but it wasn't supported by action. Over time, his uncertainty became the dominant image his partner saw. A wise person can admit uncertainty, but they pair it with movement. They show that even in confusion, they are still progressing. A wise person never tells their partner every frustration without filtering it through understanding. Raw frustration often misrepresents reality. There was a moment when a man came home after a long day and released everything on his partner. Complaints, irritation, negativity. She listened, but over time, she began to associate his presence with stress. A wise person processes before they express. They do not pour chaos into the relationship. A wise person never tells their partner things that weaken admiration. Admiration is fragile. Once lost, it is difficult to rebuild. A woman once mocked her partner in front of others. It was meant to be playful. But it chipped away at something deeper. Respect. And once respect faded, so did the foundation of attraction. A wise person protects their partner's image, especially in public. They build them up, not tear them down. A wise person never tells their partner things that come from comparison with other relationships. Comparison distorts appreciation. A man said, "Look at them, they're happier than us." What he didn't realize was that he was measuring his reality against the surface. His partner didn't feel motivated, she felt inadequate. A wise person focuses on building their own connection, not measuring it against others. A wise person never tells their partner things that create emotional instability just to feel control. Control is not connection. There was a pattern where one partner would withdraw affection to gain attention. Silence became a weapon. Distance became a strategy. It worked, temporarily. But it weakened the foundation. A wise person does not manipulate emotions to feel powerful. They create stability to build something real. A wise person never tells their partner everything they fear losing. Fear, when expressed without grounding, creates tension. A woman once said, "I'm scared you'll leave me one day." It was honest, but repeated often, it became heavy. Instead of bringing them closer, it made the relationship feel fragile. A wise person transforms fear into presence. They focus on what they can build, not what they might lose. In the end, a wise person understands that words are not just communication, they are construction. Every sentence builds something. Every reaction shapes something. Every expression leaves a mark. So they choose carefully. They speak with purpose. They hold what needs to be held, and release what needs to be said. They do not speak to empty themselves. They speak to strengthen the connection. And because of that, their presence feels different. Calm. Grounded. Certain. If you want to build that kind of strength within yourself, and become the kind of person who commands respect without forcing it, then subscribe to Inner Steel for more.